The inner JSON effect. Jake eagerly stepped into his new job, grateful for more experience and new challenges, craving to learn new software stacks and see what his new company had to teach him about the world of software. Who hasn't been there? I still remember my first job, my first real one, and I got in there so excited. Computers Unlimited. Sure, it sounded like a computer repair shop from the 70s, but I believed it was going to be an amazing experience. And when I got there, it was the worst experience of my lifetime. C#, the training program took 6 weeks, completed it in 3. Then they gave me an assignment that nobody could fix for years. Someone just literally created a bitmap encoding, and then it'd blow up all the memory. No one, ping, not available, right? It was just crazy. The whole thing was crazy. Anyways, hated it. Hated it so much that I hated that experience so much, I actually quit computer science at my university and went and became a mechanical engineer for a while. That's how much I hated it, okay? Just want to let you know that right now. They told him he'd be working on some websites dealing with JavaScript, Node, JSON, and the like. It sounded pretty reasonable for web development, except for the non-technical interviews comments that it was all built on top of Subversion, which he assumed was a simple misunderstanding. Then he was thrust into the project using the company's custom JSON-based domain-specific language, or JDSL. Ooh, I haven't read to this point, and this is already exciting. Who doesn't want a domain? First off, domain-specific languages. I've had this talk in this chat before, and last time I brought this up, it involved someone getting banned because they called me an idiot. But I'm letting you know. I get a little sensitive about this. But the moment you do a domain-specific language, almost uniformly, is it a bad decision? I've seen exceptionally few domain-specific languages be useful at all. And by the way, the fact that we have JDSL here, okay, you got JDSL. Okay, this is a great name for something. I just need to figure out some way to use this. His boss told him to check out a copy of the project he'd been assigned to and spend a week or two getting familiar with it. Just ask anyone for help if you have questions, but you shouldn't have any trouble judging from your experience. Ooh, that sounds like trouble. By your experience, you should be completely fine in our completely bespoke and made-up environment. Go get him, Tigress. It's just like, okay. So Jake began an SVN checkout. And long story short, it took 2 days to complete. What? When he asked about it, his coworker, Scott, okay? You. You know what? Also, you know what I hate about you, Scott? Is that when you try to swipe the name Scott on a keyboard, it always becomes about, okay? Why can't you have a name that works when swiping? Okay, I don't even get it. Stupid. Scott. Wait. Scott. Damn it, I can't do that. Yeah, Scott. Anyways, when he asked about it, his coworker Scott told him, "Oh, that's normal. Just play solitaire or something until it finishes." There's so many things wrong with that statement. I mean, you should be playing Elden Ring, okay? If you got 2 days. If I had 2 days, I'd play Elden Ring, okay? I wouldn't be playing solitaire. I would rather program in Gizmal than that. Anyways, 2 days later, he started poking around. He started with a seemingly innocuous file called Customers and stared at the confusion at its contents. Ooh, this looks so exciting. Oh my goodness, this is so good. You got a file that's called a JSON. You have a class that's called customers. You have the person who created this one. The purpose, never filled in because documentation. You is the answer. And then here are some places in which functions exist. How much do you want to bet? This is just a spider web of amazingness. Okay, here we go. The project was full of such files, along with some apparently incomplete code files, such as called customers.js. All right, here we go. Save to database. Okay. Customers.prototype.update billing info. Nice capital letters, clearly from C#. Clearly C# gang. Rise up. Can we get C# in the chat? Can I get a C# in the chat? By the way, Zig's biggest problem right now is the fact that they mixed snake case with camel case. I'm not going to lie to you. Whoever did that should be ashamed of themselves. I would rather type my functions looking like this and my variables than intermixing the two, okay? The intermixing of the two is a tragedy. It's called chimera case. It is a tragedy. After a couple days of spelunking through the code base and not finding even a single code comment, Jake could make no sense of what he was seeing. I honestly don't even look for code comments. Honestly, code comments have exclusively sent me wayward. The only ones that are good are the ones at the top of the file that are some sort of like apology letter for what has happened within this file. I am sorry I did this to you. You know, if you'll go look at this JIRA ticket, it was required. It's not what anyone wanted.
Welcome to Costco.
But it's what we needed, and I forgot to turn off alerts. Thank you very much. Alerts off! I have seen an apology comment. Absolutely. I've seen many apology comments. It's the only way to do it. Honestly, it's the only way to do it because most programming sucks. Then there's those other kind of programming. The one that is just like somebody had an idea and didn't stop having an idea and never went back. They're just idea ejaculation for like for like an hour. And you're just like, what happened to this code base? I mean, we've all been, it feels good to have idea ejaculation, okay? I love it. I'm a big fan, okay? It feels good, makes me a little bit sleepy, and, you know, I don't need to have another session like that for at least 24 hours. So it's fantastic, but it's not sustainable, right? You can't just keep doing that. Let's see. Oh, you just don't get it, he began. JDSL was written by Tom. Again, Tom. Can we all agree? Tom, he's a super genius and wrote a JDSL himself. So basically that customer's JSON is just metadata used to put together the customer's class. He waited for Jake to get it. Why? Oh my goodness, before anything happens, wait a second. This means that oh my goodness, does this mean that there's just literally one file that has every function in a giant array? Are we reading this correctly? That's my guess. Oh, this is so exciting. This is the most exciting article I've ever heard in my lifetime. I am so excited. Just hold on. Let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. He didn't. So how do I run it? He asked. Scott laughed. You wouldn't want to just run it. It takes a couple of days for new deployments to finish starting up. JDSL can be a little slow, but it's really powerful. Really powerful. Like I said, Tom is a genius. Both Scott and Tom. I don't like either Scott nor Tom, okay? Jake still wasn't getting it. So walk me through this metadata file. What does it do? Scott laughed again. This is the genius part. See here where it says class? Uh-huh. Well, that's the class name. Now, see down here where it says function? Yeah. Those are the subversion links to all the functions that make up the class. Tom's a genius! What? I don't even know what that means. What does that even mean? I still don't understand, Jake responded. Inwardly, he thought he started to understand, but prayed he was wrong. I mean, I have a guess. Now I'm terrified. So you have this customers.json file with customers.js. The JSON file is the metadata, and the JSON file has all the code. So the list of functions in the JSON file tells JDSL to look up those revisions of the JS file to find what functions are available. In this case, the actual code is in revision, and so on. Jake blinked slowly, hoping he was just being hazed. Each revision of customers.js has just one function. So to add functions, all you have to do is check out your new code, update the JSON metadata file with the new revisions. Like, I totally understand. I totally get that JavaScript sucks, okay? I get that. I think we're all on team JavaScript sucks, okay? But somehow, using Tortoise as the way in which you interact and build your JavaScript, subversion Tortoise, JavaScript class building with Gizmal as the descriptive language somehow is the actual worst thing. Like, I have to sit there and think for a second, like, how did a person come up with this plan? Like, first off, step one, you have to know how to construct a class in JavaScript. Step two, you have to know how to use Subversion. Step three, you have to know how to use a JSON. Step four, you put them all together and somehow think this is easier than writing a class. Oh, Tom's a genius? Oh. See, here's the problem. I just realized something. I'm a moron. Tom's a genius. I'm dumb. He's smart. Therefore, I just don't get it yet. Press 1 in the chat if Tom's a genius. I want to see some ones in the chat right now. Is Tom a genius here? Is Rust easier than JavaScript? Absolutely. Yeah, Tom's a genius. Okay, that's what I thought. Tom's a genius. I knew it. See, I'm over here thinking this seems inconvenient, but no. I'm the stupid one. Tom's an asshole. Jake, confusion turned into incredulity. Do you like how I say that word? I believe that's the correct way to say that word, and it's like one of my favorite words to say in the universe, okay? Whenever something makes a function call on a customer object, JDSL uses a list of function revisions to check out all the actual function until it finds a match. Understand? I think so. Like I said, Tom's a genius. This lets you track every function that has ever existed. You can add new functions by overwriting the Gizmal file and adding a new revision to the JSON. And you can remove a function by just removing the revision number from the function list, and still there's history. Inactive but never lost. Tom stood. Let me know if you have any more questions. He said, as he left Jake's desk. Armed with Scott's insight into the Gizmal, or the JDSL, Jake slowly began to understand the system, checking out multiple revisions of a file so he could piece together and see what was going on at runtime. And soon he realized it was merely a web portal to allow customers to update their personal information. But thanks to the complexity of JDSL, it took days to do coding work that should only take minutes. He went through all the code, still familiarizing himself with it. He started checking in code comments to help him and his coworkers map together the convoluted mess. He even fixed a few obvious bugs he found just by reading the code. He did this one class at a time. And by the end of the week, he had updated and checked in all the JSON metafiles to use the new function revisions. Monday morning, he showed up to a virtual firestorm. Everyone was a panic. Something broke with Gizmal or JDSL, and our customer's database got scrambled. Scott quickly explained as he passed Jake in the hallway. You. Oh, lightning just went off right as I said you. As the voice boomed, so did the lightning. This is just so good. And if you were here live on Twitch, you would hear the music, the lightning, the you. The voice boomed. Jake stopped and turned to face a tall, lanky, pale blonde man who was obviously angry. Are you Jake, the new guy? Yes, he answered carefully. I'm Tom. You broke JDSL. What now? Jake had only been looking at the customer portal. How could he have caused any problems? You broke JDSL! He screamed, I'm reporting you to the bosses and having you fired. And Tom turned and stormed off, leaving Jake standing confused. Shortly afterward, Jake was summoned to a small conference room. Tom, an employee from HR, and a couple of vice presidents. Already a problem. If this is your org, and you have vice presidents of an org that approved this, both you and the vice presidents, may God have mercy on the soul, let him go into the ethereal. Waiting for him. Tom looked like he was stewing and could boil over at any minute. Tell us what you did to JDSL, one of the VPs asked. I don't think I did anything, Jake answered. I've only been here 2 weeks, trying to learn the JDSL and how the customer portal works. I don't even know how to deploy it. You made a few commits to Subversion! Tom shouted, passively. Yeah, well, I added a few code comments trying to... You can't use comments in JDSL, Tom shouted. That's what broke it! One has to think. How did one get here? What happened? Right? Like, how did the vice presidents hear that word and go, Tom's a genius. Who hurt Tom? Who did it? Who's getting fired? Who hurt Tom? Tomothy? Jake stayed silent, trying to process how code comments could have wiped out a customer database. Tom continued after a pause. I haven't added comment support to JDSL, so the runtime executes comments like normal code. You must have added the database updates and some comments. No, it can't be real. It cannot be actually real. That's not even possible. Yeah, well, I put a couple short syntax examples in a comment to clarify. Tom burst to his feet. I knew it. You broke it. He turned to face the VPs. I can't deal with coders who don't understand the system. You'll either fire Jake or I quit. And he stormed out of the room. The VPs turned to the HR representative and talked as if Jake wasn't even in the room. I think our course of action is pretty clear. Tom's a programming virtuoso and our best resource, and Jake did delete the database. We have to fire Jake. And so Jake moved on to greener pastures, much greener pastures, ones where production systems didn't do dozens of SVN file checkouts for each function call at runtime. That still makes me so happy. The fact that someone engineered a product that could do runtime calls via SVN. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Tom is a genius. Dude, I never know how to spell genius. Dude, how do you spell genius? Generous? I'm not even close. I'm not a genius. Genius. I'm not even close. How do you spell this word? Why is that word impossible to spell? It's an impossible word to spell. Okay, yes is always an IOUS. And then for this one word, it's not. Only geniuses can spell genius, okay? It's Latin. Well, guess what? Show me a Latin. Okay? I want to see one of these people, and I want to ask them why. Okay? Latin these nuts. You are so smart, Prime. Tom's a genius. And tweet. Look at that. It's beautiful. One, where production systems don't automatically use the latest trunk. I'm a big fan of the latest trunk. And one that didn't come to a complete standstill because a newbie checked in a code comment. This cannot be real. I have to believe this is not real. But at the exact same time, after working at a place that had something, I wouldn't say similar, but something very, very, in fact, at one point at Netflix during the heyday, okay, I'm going to tell you a little story about Falcor. Are you ready to hear a little story about Falcor? When I was younger, at the Falcor days, I was convinced, okay? I was convinced of something stupid, okay? I was convinced of something really stupid. I was convinced that code generation was the way, okay? It wasn't me. I was skeptical, little skepty, but I was convinced it was a real thing. And someone told me that they wanted to have a DSL to describe Falcor endpoints. And guess what I did? I created a DSL to JavaScript transpiler. Yes, we had a tokenizer. Yes, we had a parse tree. And yes, we had a semantic analyzer that analyzed the entire gosh darn syntax of that stupid path evaluation. And it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. And here's the deal, is it didn't just generate. Oh gosh, here's the deal. If I remember this correctly, not only did I do all of that, one of the requirements by the person who was the genius, by the way, is that it had to be all inlined, right? It's going to be the fastest ever. So obviously the fastest way to do that is to only use simple JavaScripts, okay? And guess what I did? I used like a series of breaks and label statements to jump around. Yeah, I said that correctly, okay? I said that correctly. Okay, where's your God now? Where's your God now? I said label statements and breaks. This guy did it. Dykstra was right. Go to statements considered harmful. All right. The name is the Primogen.